Welcome to Green Hills Shadow, Chapter 18, The Trip to Town. The next 2 days passed by without much issues and much needed rest. Tom was out like a light as soon as his head hit his pillow, with Maddie following behind him. It felt like the first decent sleep in quite a while. Shadow had the music player to help calm his nerves when he felt overwhelmed at times. He discovered more genres and discovered heavy rock. He nearly tossed the player when its heavy metal reached his sensitive ears and he visibly winced from the pain. So he learned to turn it down on that particular genre, because he certainly was curious how they made it sound quite interesting. Then Sonic didn't help matters, introducing the Black Sapient to Disturbed, Nickelback, 3 Day Grace to name a few. Fascinating to the Black Hedgehog, that's for sure. So many rock differences and he quite enjoyed a lot of them. The Echidna fully intended to train Shadow after the town visit. See how well he handles with movement and walking by then. He somehow managed to get Sonic into it as well, so that means all of them will be training. Just Tails will be more so observing than partaking in case high risk of an injury on his fragile bones. Knuckles declared, making Tails glare daggers at his older brother. Shadow unfortunately was shown the ways of shiny hunting. Sonic showed him some shiny variants of his Pokemon that he had, and well, needless to say, Shadow became obsessed while he rested under the no negotiation by the humans. It didn't take him long to actually complete the Arceus game and going in straight for shinies. He didn't know what most of them looked like apart from what Sonic showed him. Sonic was flabbergasted when Shadow showed him an Alpha Shiny Gengar. And, was that a shiny Alpha Gastrodon? The blue one? Then he couldn't believe it. He also had a shiny Alpha Spiritomb. Sonic stuttered. He got a shiny Alpha Spiritomb. Unbelievable. He regrets ever showing him. His shiny luck must be off the charts.
I can't believe you have Alpha Shinies, and have a full Pokédex.
Tails snickered at his blue brother's defeatist voice. Then the shiny sound went off in game, alerting Sonic to the fact he just found another shiny. Oh goody, what one is he going to find this time? He peeked over and saw a shiny Braviary and he just groaned. Shadow very much liked the black color on it and used a feather ball to catch it. Yes, Sonic regrets showing him very much. Knuckles sighed.
He has corrupted him.
Knuckles bemoaned, much like Sonic would bemoan about him.
Tom and Maddie said, and I quote, "full rest until their sanity is restored. I am merely listening to what they have asked of me, and I don't wish to be bored."
Shadow saved his game.
So you felt like showing me up at shiny hunting?
I must excel in everything I do.
So you're somewhat of a perfectionist?
Tails asked the Black Sapient, quite taken with how much shinies he has managed to obtain.
I do suppose that is one way to think about it. Also, how does one get the legendaries to be shiny?
Sonic scoffed.
Some of them are shiny locked. I think the other way is to reset them in Sword. If you do the Dynamax adventure, don't tell me you want those shiny too.
Giratina's gonna blow this hedgehog's mind once he sees the shiny.
If you had to be a certain type, what would you choose, Shadow? I mean, we know Knuckles, he wishes for fighting types.
Shadow paused and looked to be in thought. He doesn't know enough to be locked into specific typing.
Give me an idea of yours.
I like steel types and electric types. I love Magneton, so I'd be either electric or steel.
Shadow looked to the other 2 Sapients. Sonic shrugged.
I don't know. I like a lot of Pokemon that I can't be put down to one type if I had to.
Naturally, they train as much as me.
He pounded his fist against his chest in pride.
But I do not spend nearly as much time as the blue one here on playing the games.
I also like Raichu.
But Pikachu is the mascot.
So?
So shouldn't it be Pikachu?
Sonic pointed out and Tails scoffed.
Raichu is better.
Sonic could wind him up a little bit.
Pikachu.
He grinned, earning a growl off the fox.
Raichu?
He glared at his brother, ready to take him down to prove his point if he has to.
You're the dude who likes Magneton, which is just Magnemite with extra bodies attached.
Tails is going to have his revenge for that comparison. Both Shadow and Knuckles could see it clearly.
Did you seriously just compare similarities of Magneton to Dugtrio?
Sonic was loving this. Shadow is definitely going to have to think about it. So far the ghost types seem to stand out, maybe even some dragon, but he really isn't too familiar with all the Pokemon.
How many Pokemon is there?
He asked, changing the attention to himself briefly.
If you include the Megas and regional forms as well as the Gigantamax, I think it's 1,164.
Tails said, and Shadow nearly dropped the switch, his mouth opening with shock at the total number.
But if it's just national, 1,025.
You are kidding me. And people have a full living dex.
Well, there goes his idea to catch all the shinies. Chaos, no, he would be driven to insanity at that point. There's just so much Pokemon he is not even aware of. He knows the Arceus Dex now, but the rest? No, he can't fall into that rabbit hole. Unfortunately, his brain began to fight against him, wanting to. Tom and Maddie eventually came up the attic with Ozzy in tow, checking in on the boys as well as Shadow's injuries, which by now had almost disappeared entirely. The one on his arm did, so they just had to wait for the fur to grow back. The one of his back is small enough not to have any concerns. Still have to wait for the fur to grow, but if it's as fast as his healing, then shouldn't be too much of a problem. So he asked if he wanted to cover the shaved parts with either a bandage or a hoodie for tomorrow. He decided on a hoodie. He felt more comfortable with one. Tomorrow was a big day, and he's, well, nervous, but that's to be expected. He isn't sure how it's going to go. Been here a month, and the only two humans, outsiders that know of him, were Wade and Carl. He still thinks it's a bad idea, but as everyone and himself point out, he can't hide forever. And he promised Tails he would go to the library at some point.
Oh, that's right, Shadow. You ever tried birthday cake?
He paused and gave the blue hedgehog a quizzical look. Maria and Professor Gerald had gotten him a cake once, on the Ark on his creation day like a year later. So he has, but he can't remember it specifically.
It is our brother's name day soon.
Knuckles closed the lid on the Master Emerald, keeping it snug in its box once again.
He will be 14.
I thought he already was.
It's official.
Maddie tucked Tails into his bed.
We said he's 14 because we really weren't that far away from it. And now it's even closer.
Tails is 9 this year. Knuckles already had his back before you came. Have you had specific flavor cakes?
Shadow hummed and rubbed one of his rings.
I'm not quite sure. I take it you all have had different flavors?
It's a travesty. They do not have grape flavor cakes.
Knuckles sat himself on his bed, earning a lot of cringes from his family members.
What?
That sounded quite disgusting to the rest of them. A grape-flavored cake. You.
Well, Tails celebrated his birthday last year with us. So his birthday cake was vanilla sponge. Knuckles was chocolate, and this one here wants a cookies and cream cake.
Maddie smiled at the blue hedgehog.
He's had a different one each year he's been with us.
Sonic grinned and rubbed his nose.
I want to try every cake flavor I possibly can. You all right with that flavor, Shadow?
He earned a blink off him.
What?
You'll be giving me a slice.
Yeah? It's my cake. I can decide who gets. So does that mean you haven't had any birthday cakes before?
Maria used to share on her birthdays, but she had to be careful with what she ate because of her illness and bacteria that could be in foods if one weren't careful. She and the professor got me one cake before, but I can't remember the flavor specifically, and it felt wrong if she couldn't enjoy it, so I refused to have any more.
Shadow fluffed out his pillow, oblivious to the stab wounds he just gave to Tom and Maddie's hearts.
Well, you'll be getting a slice.
Tom spoke, lifting up Sonic playfully like a rag doll who yelped but grinned at his father's playfulness, taking him over to his own bed.
Father, when is the ceiling getting fixed? Shadow does require a bed and not just a mattress.
I dawn.
Shadow tried to pipe up, mostly because they've all done so much for him already, but Maddie interrupted.
Soon we wanted to see how tomorrow goes before we bring the people who fixed our house before. It won't take long. And as for Shadow's bed, me and your dad has ideas written. We just want to make sure it matches.
She kissed her youngest on the head as he began to fall asleep, and she smiled.
Excellent. Hear that, my brother. You will be receiving a bed to match ours.
Knuckles pulled his own covers over himself, with Tom playfully dropping Sonic onto his bed, who laughed.
But
Shadow.
Tom put the covers over Sonic.
It's all right, bud. Consider it the welcome gift to Green Hills. We just want to be sure it screams you, like these three.
He ruffled Sonic's head, who slapped his hand away playfully.
We know a guy who makes the shapes.
Shadow chewed his lip, glancing at the mattress. He's quite happy with what he has been given, and they still want to give him more? He's not sure how his heart can take anymore.
All right, time for bed. Shadow turned the switch off. Love you, boys. Have a good night's sleep.
Tom went to each of his sons with a goodnight hug, while Maddie did the same, only with a goodnight kiss.
Love. You too.
He yawned and snuggled into his bed more content. Sonic gave his parents a thumbs up.
Love you too.
Knuckles returned the hug from Tom and had a light blush from the kiss on his head from Maddie.
And I as well. Sleep well, mother, father.
The echidna yawned, laying himself more comfortable on his bed. Shadow went to lie on his side after turning the console off and sat it next to his mattress, but saw two shades standing over him, which crouched to his level, and he gave them both a confused look. What are they wanting now? But he soon got his answer with Tom hugging him, and he went stiff like a rock, unable to process what he was doing. Then he got a kiss on his forehead, and he let out a stutter at Maddie, her eyes twinkling, both slightly amused by his expression.
Good night, Shadow. Love you, bud.
Tom said to the ebony hedgehog, who just looked at him. Seems he still needs to realize he's now included in the routine that he and Maddie do for the boys most nights.
Love you and have sweet dreams.
Maddie thumbed his cheeks gently, and he just looked even more dazed. She found it adorable, but also quite sad. Both weren't offended he didn't say much. He may still be coming to terms with what Tom said. They just have to wait until he's accepted it, but they'll keep at it every night from now on. Both humans got up, with Tom glancing to find the dog, but he was sleeping on top of Tails' bed, at the bottom where his legs would be, and chuckled. Seems like Tails has his protector for tonight, and they made their way to the stairs when Shadow quietly murmured,
Good night. Have pleasant dreams.
He was so quiet, unsure in his tone. He quickly pulled his blanket over his head. Tom and Maddie smiled at each other at his attempt. He said goodnight before, but it might have been a little differently for him this time. Both went down the stairs, preparing themselves for a ride tomorrow. After everyone got freshened up the next day and looked presentable, off they went into town in the truck. Knuckles stayed on the outside with Sonic, both enjoying the wind with Shadow and Tails in the back seats, with Tails showing some of the sights and what building had what in it, probably to make conversation and stop Shadow from having a wondering mind. The drive to the store was just straightforward. The humans planned to stop somewhere for lunch. Tom knows his father is going to headlock him when he finds out he's got another addition to the family. He's dreading it, but he really wanted to respect what Shadow had gone through. If his father doesn't bury Tom, his mother will. But they'll cross that bridge after Sonic's birthday. They finally got to the store and found a parking space. Now came the moment of truth. How will Shadow handle this? Or the other residents of Green Hills? Tom tipped Wade off that they'd be there, so maybe having another familiar face would ease some concerns.
All right, let's get some food shopping.
He unhooked his seatbelt as Sonic and Knuckles jumped out the back of the truck, waiting for Tails and Shadow to join them from the back seat inside. Maddie took a deep breath before leaving the vehicle herself. She took a glance at her boys, who all surrounded the black sapient. He was wearing the black hoodie of Sonic's that Wade had gotten him. Tom started walking with his family towards the store. He's quite sure Shadow felt the same, but he luckily had 3 bouncing boys who kept his mind from worrying. Shadow's fear wasn't so much humans capturing him, since he's stronger. Tom doesn't think any human here would be capable of trying anyway, because Shadow walked away from having a tree lodged inside him. His fear was if June somehow found him. It was an honest and understandable worry, but he can't let it consume him. Green Hills is pretty quiet, and after the fiasco from before, they hadn't actually been back. Telling Shadow that they had been here before would not be a good idea, even if it was temporary that they were. As long as his boys didn't suddenly destroy half the town, they wouldn't come back here. Tom hoped anyway.
Tom.
The sheriff looked up to see his best friend waving them over.
Fancy meeting you lot here.
Real subtle Wade.
Uncle Wade.
Tails smiled and ran over to hug him, and he leaned down and returned it with a grin. Maddie smiled. Tails was really taken with Wade.
Are you here to food shop too?
Yeah, buddy. Needed to restock myself. Hey, boys.
He waved to the other 3 sapients who greeted him. Shadow just gave him the usual greeting, banging his fist against his chest. and the deputy's eyes lit up seeing the hoodie he was wearing.
Is that the hoodie I got you, Sonic?
Yeah, but Shadow likes it too.
Sonic replied back, putting his arms behind his head.
It'll keep his shaved spots from getting cold.
Despite that though, Sonic had a look in his fur. It's strange, it's like almost grown back at a remarkable speed. It was unnatural. Shadow's brows furrowed and gave him a look.
It's hot weather. How would I be cold?
So you wanted to show off the shaved parts?
No.
Then that's the excuse, so the skin doesn't get cold.
You are an idiot.
Sonic slowly turned his head with a challenging look on his face, and Tom hurried over. These two could fight like a cat and dog at times. Wade was snickering at the teen shenanigans already, and they hadn't been gone inside yet. Maddie let out a sigh and rubbed her temple, fully hoping they don't cause a fight like the first time Knuckles went to the store. She doesn't want to have broken sprinklers again. Knuckles went over and greeted the man with a bang on his chest, much like Shadow did.
When are we introducing Shadow to bowling? I suggested base of ball before, but I think our quest of tossing the ball onto the white pins would be much better.
Well, we need to see how Shadow does with other humans' Knuckles.
Wade glanced at Tom, pulling both of them ahead to join them.
All right, shopping trolleys.
Shadow took a deep breath as Tom edged them closer to the store, reminding himself in a mantra that he doesn't need to talk to anyone, and he can pull on the hood if he wanted to, or zip away even if Sonic could chase him down. He's never been in a store and has no idea what to expect. Tom stayed close beside him, as did the other Sapients, as soon as they entered the large convenience store, and Shadow was hit with a ton of new scents and he had to blink, and he froze. They were a decent amount of humans here, all shopping just the same by the looks of it, and he swallowed chaos. He did not count on how many would be here. His mind made up an imaginary number, but not quite like this. He's fine, he's fine, he's fine. He kept telling himself. He felt Knuckles pat his shoulder, and Sonic gave him a look of concern.
Shadow.
I'm fine.
He bit out and took a deep breath, gripping into his rings very tightly in an effort to calm down and not acknowledge the potential danger of being alerted to GUN. He felt Tom place his hand closer to the Sapient if he desired to take it, and Shadow bit his lip and forced a few steps ahead with Sonic on his left and Knuckles on his right. Tails was helping Maddie pick out some fruit. Tom watched Shadow with a watchful eye, ready to take him out if he had to. But quite proud, he willingly kept going even if he looked ready to bolt. May have helped he had the other Sapients around him. Wade had his own shopping list. He may have come up and joined in with grabbing a few things for his trolley. Best to act normal for Shadow, and not look like they're being overprotective. As Tom suspected, he could tell some humans stopped to look at the group with curious glances. Shadow unfortunately stuck out like a sore thumb because of his black fur and red stripes. So the fact there was a fourth Sapient, some noticed it right away. But others who did just kept going on about their business, considering it a new normal for Green Hills at this point. He just had to act normal himself, so Shadow wouldn't immediately try and leave. He's doing well for this first time, though how his rings have never broken from the sheer grip, he'll never know. Is that a new alien hedgehog? Tom heard a voice not too far that was very curious, and he pursed his lip, trying to ignore. If he heard it, chances the others did. Looks like it. Another one muttered out back. Maddie and Tom couldn't blame them, but right now they really hoped no one dared come over too quick, or else Shadow might bolt or bite. They really don't need an accident happening on the first day of trying. Should we have a closer look?
I would rather you didn't.
Tom thought, but Sonic could be counted upon. He zipped around Shadow, showing him some of the fruits he has yet to see, like how a pineapple looked like up close without being sliced up.
Isn't that a house?
Shadow uttered. He was quiet, not too loud, and very confused. Wade let out a laugh.
Who showed him SpongeBob?
Wade asked, and Tails Crimson blushed at that point, and he laughed again. He really didn't expect Shadow to just say the pineapple was a house. Reminds him of Knuckles at times, really does.
It's a pineapple blackberry, a fruit.
It is significantly smaller than I thought, so it isn't a house. A cartoon really does exaggerate.
He hummed, taking in the pineapple, and ignored Sonic snickering away like a buffoon. It was spiker than he thought, too.
Shut up, Sonic.
Nah. I'm gonna keep that for a memory.
Knuckles unsurprisingly put a packet of grapes into the trolley, and Shadow was offered to pick a fruit he'd like to try. He didn't pick the pineapple, but he ended up with a watermelon, deciding on the slices would be worth trying.
You like grapes.
Shadow pointed out to the red echidna, who grunted in acknowledgement.
They are delicious. It is a good snack.
He's obsessed.
Sonic nudged the echidna in the side with a grin, who gave him a dry look.
At least I chew my food.
At least I have more than one lovable snack.
Tom gave them a look.
I swear if I somehow find one of you on top of the ceiling here, you are grounded for 2 weeks.
He gave both the echidna and the blue hedgehog the promised gaze of a father. Maddie grinned at the way both clambered up and cleared their throats in embarrassment. Shadow continued to follow them, not really saying much other than a few sentences there or here, and kept his voice loud enough for them to hear. So far it didn't seem to be much of a hassle. Is it because he had the others? Or is it the respect Tom and Maddie had? He could feel the gazes. His social battery, or rather human tolerance, was beginning to wear thin though. Tails pulled Shadow along suddenly, who wasn't expecting to get dragged and nearly tripped, and he pulled him with great power he wasn't expecting the kit to have. And right past a couple of humans who watched it, not even hiding their curiosity there. He felt like snapping at the fox for that, but held it back. He let the fox take him down an aisle that was littered with sweets and other confectionaries, and Shadow's eyes widened at the amount on each of the shelves. Chaos, how does anyone choose?
Shadow, look how many there is.
Tails' two tails wagged.
Let's find something for you.
Maddie called out to Tails as she caught up with the trolley.
Tails, don't just drag him like that.
Can we pick a sweet for Shadow?
Tails looked up with his light blue eyes, reminding Maddie he's very much still a kid, and she gave him a small smile.
Please?
She looked to the ebony hedgehog, and he just looked utterly lost.
It's a treat, Shadow. I don't expect you to eat it all in one go. See if you can spot anything you'd like to try or have.
But you've already put my fruit in the trolley. That's enough for me.
He muttered, taking a curious glance around the aisle. Oh, this boy. Maddie cleared her throat and went onto her knees to gain his attention.
Are you sure? We don't mind adding a sweet snack to the trolley.
Tails quickly went to get a mint tin, no surprise there. He liked his mint-flavored stuff. At least they space out his diet just like all the other boys. But Shadow just watched Tails get his own sweet, the tin of mints, who eagerly gave Maddie it to put in the basket. Shadow then felt the yellow fox usher him closer to the shelves in order to find something that stuck out as Maddie watched. He was certainly dragging the ebony hedgehog about, and Shadow resigned to his fate and just allowed the tugging and pulling of an 8-year-old fox. It took roughly several minutes of coaxing from Tails and Maddie, but Shadow eventually picked out Kit Kats since they wouldn't stop pestering him about picking one. He added it to the trolley. Then Sonic came around the corner, skidding across the floor, sliding like on a skateboard.
Now that's an entrance. I am just so awesome.
Maddie gave her middle child a look.
And humble. Where's your dad?
He figured Tails dragged you to go get his precious mints.
Hey!
So he got some meat and vegetables on the list. I think he's still with Wade.
And where's your big brother?
He's helping.
Sonic replied and put in his requested sweet of the week.
What did Shadow pick?
He chose a Kit Kat.
Tails looked at Maddie, who picked up Knuckles' requested item, peanuts, and made her way out of the aisle of confectionery with the other three in tow.
You like Kit Kats?
I don't know. I've never had one.
He heard Sonic let out a gasp of denial, putting his hand on his chest.
What?
You can't be serious. Shadow, it's chocolate. How could you not have Kit Kats before?
Shadow stared incredulously at the blue hedgehog. He's not serious, is he? So he gestured to himself hopefully to give him enough of a hint. But he didn't get the hint. He threw his hands up in the air with a groan.
I don't know. Why don't you ask the humans who kept me locked away?
He hissed, and Sonic at least had the decency to look sheepish at the realization.
Forget I said anything.
He rubbed his neck, looking like he'd been kicked. Shadow sighed, rubbing his temple.
You do tend to talk before your brain catches up.
He muttered, earning a glare off the blue hedgehog.
Okay, you get that one considering I put my foot in it.
How considerate of you.
So far, other than a few sarcastic remarks from Sonic and Shadow, the shopping trip was going well. He definitely had a lot of curious looks from people, but none approached just yet. So Maddie kept her fingers crossed. It didn't take long for them to regroup either, with them getting everything they needed off their shopping list for the week.
Why don't we go to the diner for lunch?
Wade suggested to Tom as Knuckles and Sonic began to put the items onto the till belt, helping their parents with it. Shadow watched with interest, eyeing the machine.
Show him more.
Tom quickly looked to Shadow, who did seem to be handling it better than they expected. It might be because of the three boys and maybe a touch of him and Maddie, and it would get him some fresh air longer than just being cooped up.
Who's the new one?
Spoke too soon. Tom looked at the cashier, who gave Shadow a soft smile. She was an older woman, in her 50s at least. The black sapient looked like a deer caught in headlights once he realized it was directed at him.
Please, don't snarl.
Tom begged in his head. Knuckles lifted another item onto the till.
He's our newest. I ask you be understanding of his wariness. He has not been around decent humans, other than the ones you see in front of you.
His voice was calm but held authority. Knuckles certainly had a way of talking. His eloquence is what Shadow wished he had. Sonic went to the inn to start packing the items into bags, with Tails offering to help.
Not used to us then. Reminds me of you, Tails.
The human at the till said, scanning the items, and the fox blushed. She didn't pick up on Knuckles' hidden word about decent humans. And he continued not to give Shadow's name unless he was given consent to. Shadow took a deep breath. He said he would try, and shakily put his hand to his chest in a bang, greeting the human, who looked surprised but grinned, eyes lighting up. She remembered the way Knuckles would do that to everyone.
Someone's been teaching you manners.
More like corrupted him.
Sonic bemoaned and earned a very loud growl from the black hedgehog. Tom grabbed his hoodie when he realized the ebony hedgehog was about to go whack him. It made the cashier chuckle, certainly entertained by the alien shenanigans. Maddie shook her head, but Shadow's ears twitched. He glanced over to another till, seeing a more elderly woman. She looked to be in her 70s, struggle with putting her items into her bags, dropping her cane, and pursed his lip. No hesitation. She needed a little hand. He pulled away from Tom, who looked ready to grab onto him again in case he did go for Sonic, but to their greatest surprise, Shadow had gone over to the elderly woman as she dropped her cane in trying to do her shopping. Knuckles had the same idea by the looks of it, because he too went over. The ebony hedgehog did not say anything, but he calmly picked her cane up and held it for her. Wade, Tom, Maddie, Sonic, and Tails paused to watch the exchange with bated breath. Shadow didn't do well with humans, because of what they did to him, and it's understandable. So him willingly going to help an old lady? He didn't seem as hesitant. He didn't speak sure, but he held out the cane for her to take, gesturing to himself, then her shopping bags, and her face lit up in gratefulness, understanding he was going to help her with the bags, as Knuckles began doing the same thing. She thanked both of them, and reached into her purse to give them money, but both shook their heads. Knuckles told her there was no need, and Shadow wouldn't even know what to do with it. The echidna gestured for her to just lead them to where they can place her bags.
Well, he's certainly a polite one.
Tom had a smile on his face. Sonic and Knuckles has helped elderly people before, crossing the street, or just what Shadow had done. But he never expected the black sapient to do it as well. As broken as his heart could be, Shadow had kindness. He wonders if Maria had a hand in it, in how Shadow became himself before G-Wen destroyed his life. Are they beginning to see parts of him shine through?
Well, would you look at that? That was quite a surprise.
They could see Shadow hold her bags after giving the old lady her cane, both him and Knuckles walking at her pace, probably towards a car. What he didn't realize is he had an audience other than Tom and family. It was other humans who were very curious about the newest alien that just appeared out of nowhere, and unknowingly to Shadow, he's made a good first impression already. Some in the queue behind the Wachowskis asked some questions, feeling brave enough to after seeing that, but Tom quickly put the foot down. Luckily, Shadow was too busy helping an elderly woman to really care or panic over. Seems Green Hills has a new alien resident.
A diner? What is a diner?
A place you go for meals.
Knuckles replied, Shadow letting out a hum sound. After helping the elderly lady, who thanked them repeatedly and called them nice boys, both made sure she got into her taxi. Shadow now knows what that is. And Wade called them over after their own shopping bags were in the truck in Wade's vehicle. The humans had gone back to their respective homes and put their shopping away, when Maddie announced they were going out to lunch at the diner. Sonic cheered, and so did Tails. a family outing to a meal, something they haven't done since Shadow came. They didn't want to leave him out, so they didn't go, but now they can. Shadow did not look too enthusiastic about it. His human limit was done, but he didn't say because he saw how ecstatic the other sapients were about going out. Tom handed the black sapient his music player in case he needed to drown out sounds, and Shadow appreciated the gesture, so he stuck it into the pocket of the hoodie. Tom and Maddie were talking in the front seats, with Tom driving, and this time the echidna was in the back with Shadow while Tails and Sonic were outside, enjoying the breeze and also waving to humans who spotted them. Shadow noted they were quite friendly with the other sapients, respected even. Is it cause Tom was a sheriff, and they helped save the town from Eggman? This place has turned what he thought of humans upside down.
You are doing well.
Knuckles suddenly said, gaining him out of his thoughts, and he looked at the echidna.
I appreciate you trying, brother. I know it's difficult.
Shadow rubbed his neck.
I promised Tails I'd try.
You still feel bad about before.
Shadow looked out the window, observing the town as they drove to the location.
He's still a child. I'm older, so I shouldn't have reacted like I did.
You aren't used to trying to let people in. When you do, you fight because of what happened before. Regardless, you still seek a connection. It is understandable.
Knuckles patted his shoulder.
But if you dare lay a hand on him, I swear to the gods of Mobius, I will do it right back.
He said with a promise, and Shadow had a small grin on his face. He knew Knuckles was serious, but just how protective he was made Shadow feel a little joy that Tails had people like this family.
Actually, I wanted to ask you something.
Shadow turned to the echidna, who looked at him with a questionable gaze.
You use those rings to go to Mobius time to time.
We do. I have some stored, but I need to return for more. Why?
Knuckles tilted his head, wondering where he was going with this.
Do you happen to know where Tails' village is?
Shadow's eyes darted to the window where Tails and Sonic were on the back of the truck, talking and waving away still.
You wish to go to the Fox's village?
I wish to have a quest of justice.
That got Knuckles' attention, and he sat up straighter.
He told you?
Shadow nodded.
Roughly. He didn't go into too much detail, but I got some of it. I want a word with those adults, maybe scare a lot of them.
What do you propose?
Knuckles asked, already thinking about the strategies.
Maybe rough the village up, destroy a few houses, set things on fire. Now that sounds like a good time.
Absolutely not.
Both of them froze, turning to the side eye of Maddie and Tom in the mirror that glanced back at them. Shadow forgot they both were in the front.
I don't think setting fire is going to do any good. If anything, you might make them resent him further.
They do not deserve him, Mother. He will not be returning there, so there is no need to think about their resentment.
Bud, you both might end up on a wanted poster because you suddenly attacked a village of foxes who might not have an idea why you, destroyed their village.
Tom kept driving, wishing this conversation wasn't an actual thing they were thinking about doing.
So I don't even want you to entertain the idea any further. If you do, you will be grounded for a month.
Shadow then conspiracy whispered to the echidna.
We'll discuss our options later.
We heard that, Shadow.
Being a parent was definitely not for the weak-hearted. You needed eyes at the back of your heads, even more so because when you have 4 superpowered alien kids. After a little back and forth between the 4 inside the vehicle, Tom found a parking spot at the diner, with Wade not that far behind. Everyone got out of the vehicles and made their way into the family diner, and Shadow was hit with mouth-watering scents. He could just feel his stomach growl, it smelled so good. Did Professor Gerald go to them before the Ark? Sonic zipped to find a good spot, eventually asking a waitress known as Samantha for a table that would fit the family. She was about to say to the blue hedgehog that they'd fit at a regular booth until she spotted the newest with them. Her eyes widened at the sight of him. A new alien? Shadow didn't notice her gaze. Tails was busy talking to the black hedgehog, who didn't speak but listened. So she gestured Sonic to a corner booth that had one of those couches that had corner seats, and he thanked her. He shouted for his family to come over to the booth, which they did. As they walked by, the patrons of the diner noticed something black walk amongst the sapients. Some couldn't believe there was a 4th. Green Hills certainly attracted them, didn't they? Some leaned over their table to take a curious look at the newest addition. Shadow in the middle of the booth. On his left side were fellow sapients. On the right were the humans, and Wade took the chair in front of the table. Samantha came over, handing each of them a menu to see what they'd like, and her eyes gazed little too long on the black hedgehog, who curled his lip and pulled the menu up to cover his face, because he was snarling quietly, not at all enjoying the attention she was giving him. Tom noticed and cleared his throat, and she blinked, realizing what she was doing, and muttered an apology, and leaving them to go take other orders until they're ready.
Shadow.
Tom said, but Shadow didn't answer him. He glared at the menu.
Buddy, she didn't mean to. She's just curious.
I don't want curious. I'm here to be with you all. I did not come to be dissected.
Wade gave him a sympathetic smile and leaned his arms on the table.
We understand, we do. But snarling isn't going to help your case.
It would keep them away.
He breathed out, eyes glancing at the menu. It's his first time seeing one. It was huge, filled with so many options that he really didn't understand. Like, what is onion rings? He's seen onions, but why are they shaped like rings? And nachos?
I already got mine. Chili dogs.
Tails snorted.
Obsessed.
Absolutely.
Sonic had no shame in admitting that. Shadow's ears twitched and gave him a look.
Didn't Eggman ruin your chili dog thing?
He asked, recalling the nightmare Sonic had, and he just gaped at the ebony hedgehog.
You remember that?
Yes, but I am unsure what they even are.
Sonic's favorite food.
Maddie said while looking over her menu.
We try and make sure he doesn't overfeed on them. He'll likely want some for his dinner on his birthday.
How'd you guess that one, Mom?
Sonic grinned with cheek, fully intending to have a buttload of them for his birthday.
Oh, how did I? You'd love one as a cake. Shadow, you want to try a chili dog?
No. If he is having some for his birthday, then I will wait till then.
Shadow still didn't know what to pick from the menu at all. Fries? Yes, he'll go for those. But everything else he isn't quite sure. Tails took notice of Shadow's bouncing leg, and his repetitive tapping on his ring as he still glanced at the menu. Obviously his nerves are all worked up, so Tails leaned closer to him, a way to say he is there for the sapient, a quiet gesture. It didn't work for the bouncing, but Shadow appreciated him trying. He bit his lip and groaned, earning Maddie's attention.
You okay, Blackberry?
There's too much.
He muttered, burying his head onto the table. He honestly doesn't know how to choose what to choose. Fries is simple, he's had them. Cheeseburgers, sure, pizzas and all that. But should he go for something he's used to with the fries or something new? Maddie hummed in sympathy. She leaned over and touched his hand gently.
Would you like something new? I could pick for you.
I'd appreciate that.
He gave her a small smile, sitting up straighter. Tom waved Samantha down so she could take orders and drinks. Tom ordered himself an American cheeseburger, Sonic with his chili dogs. Maddie ordered a pasta dish, as did Knuckles. Wade got himself a regular burger. Tails got himself chicken nuggets from the kiddie section. And Shadow was given a chicken burger with fries and a side of onion rings to try. He's not tried a chicken version yet, and it was simple. Samantha went off to give their order to the chef. Tom leaned over and gestured to the black sapient, who looked and motioned towards his music player if he was getting overwhelmed, so Shadow placed one earphone on his ear so he could still hear the rest of them inside out, music filling his ear, drowning out everyone else apart from the people he was sitting with. Wade smiled with sympathy, and the other boys chatted away. He could feel people glance every so often, wondering who the new resident was, but respected Tom and the family enough not to just approach. Yet anyway.
Sonic? Are you wanting anything specific this year? Just so I can keep a lookout.
Sonic hummed and rubbed his chin in thought. That was a super good question. He's got a backlog of games, he's got his brother's plus Shadow to celebrate, and he's gonna have the family there to celebrate as well.
I'm not fussy. I have a backlog of games as is.
Sonic zipped off suddenly with an idea. None of his family were even phased, nor was Shadow at this point. He came back several seconds later with cards.
Anyone up for a game while we wait on food?
Shadow looked curious, pausing the music and pulling out the earphone. Bingo! That's what Sonic wanted. Knuckles leaned forward as Sonic explained the game to the sapients. It was like Old Maid in a sense. All queens apart from one are removed from the deck. Each player gets a load of cards, and the goal is to get pairs and avoid the queen and get out. Loser who's left with the queen is called Old Maid. And you have to have a poker face and not alert the fact you have her. Their parents and Wade talked amongst themselves but had their eye on the game, quite interested to see how it would play out. The game started, Sonic dishing out every card. Then everyone took a card each from each other. Shadow took from Sonic, he took from Tails, and the Fox took from Knuckles, leaving the Echidna to take from Shadow. It didn't take long to be left with fewer cards, pairs coming out quite quickly. It was determining who had the queen. Tails had her to begin with, his young eyes betraying him. Sonic knew he had it, so he took it off the Fox, who cheered thinking he outsmarted Sonic, when in truth he took it for that reaction alone. It was tricking Shadow, and Sonic did have a good poker face, usually. Shadow seemed to be just as good. He was as cool as a cucumber, which from what he's observed thus far, Shadow wore his emotions on his face at times. He was laser focused on the game despite it being his first time. He only had a few cards left. Sonic had managed to transfer the queen to Shadow, who didn't even bat an eyelid, or let it be known he had the queen. Interesting. It was like that for a couple rounds when Sonic noticed what the Ebony Hedgehog was doing. He was playing mind games with the Echidna, lifting up a card slightly up, making him think that was the queen in hopes Knuckles would take it. His eyes widened at the realization. So when Knuckles took the bait, he went for the one next to it. He cried out when he recognized it was the queen.
Dishonor!
Alerting to everyone he had it. That got a smirk off Shadow, and Sonic thought that tactic was genius. The food did eventually come, but the Sapients were too busy being engrossed in the battle of cards. Tails and Knuckles got out after Shadow got the queen again, only leaving him and the Blue Hedgehog in a battle of who had the serious poker face. Even the humans were engrossed the battle. Maddie and Tom watched with bated breath on who would become the loser. There's only two options for Sonic: the card he needs or the queen. He's not going to fall for the tactic Shadow used before.
Admit defeat, Shads.
He grinned cheekily at the Ebony Hedgehog, but Shadow continued to be silent, his eyes giving him a calm appearance.
I know the tricks you used against Knuckles. It's not gonna work.
Sonic reached over for the card that was sticking out this time, knowing full well it wasn't the queen. He could see the first break in Shadow's calm, collected demeanor, earning a slight scowl, and he took the card. There can only be one after all. Sonic turned it around, fully ready to call Shadow the loser, and his heart stopped. In his hand was the queen. Is this the end of his life? Shadow had the most evil smirk he had seen yet. No, he can still turn this around. He shuffled his cards and held them out for Shadow to take. Shadow eyed the two cards, studying both with intent. As long as Sonic didn't give anything away, he could still win this. The Black Hedgehog leaned forward and took a card into his deck. It was the final pair, so he tossed the pair into the pile on the table in victory. This was the end of his life. Knuckles cheered loudly as Sonic cried out equally as loud, earning boisterous laughters around his table. Wade grinned and announced the loser to all who could hear: Sonic is the old maid. Tails couldn't believe it. Shadow played him, he read him like a book. He looked to the Black Sapient, who crossed his arms and crossed his leg over the other, like he was a king. To Tom he looked like the Godfather, he was just missing the cat, his ruby eyes gleaming with amusement. Sonic had his mouth wide open, stunned. He looked like a dying fish, and Shadow let out a chuckle, not at all caring about the humans around him, enjoying what he was witnessing. Sonic looked like he was having an identity crisis.
What's the matter, Sonic? I thought you knew my tricks.
Payback never tasted so sweet. Sonic is absolutely dumbfounded, impressed, and perhaps annoyed.
You are a leech on society.
Sonic hissed. Knuckles happily dug into his food now that the card game had finished, Tails doing the same. Shadow grinned and reached over for his own meal. He might have to beat him more often because that was absolutely satisfying. All of them was enjoying their respective meals, Shadow especially feeling quite hungry, likely from all the strain of human contact he's had, even though he's not spoken to any other than the ones around him. It was just that fear and doubt that wouldn't go away, that G.U.N. would find him. He can't wait to go back home. It's still weird to him too. Consider it his home, it's gonna take some adjusting. Tails then asked the Black Sapient a question.
Shadow, do you want to try bowling sometime?
How does bowling work?
He took another bite of his burger, taking a look at the onion rings on his plate with curiosity. He should try one.
It doesn't involve tossing me into white pins.
Sonic dryly said, taking a bite of his chili dog. Tom paused.
Wait, what?
Shadow thought me and him would have to curl into balls and get tossed into the pins.
He gestured and Tom snorted, putting his fist to his mouth, his eyes twinkling with amusement at the embarrassed black sapient.
I hate you.
Shadow scowled, taking a bite of an onion ring. Huh, these actually taste quite nice. Maddie gave him a smile.
Well, there is balls, but they are made specifically for the pin's shadow. You or Sonic don't need to get tossed into them that way.
She mused, seeing his muzzle heat up further, and she giggled.
We shall make a date for it.
Knuckles sipped his drink.
Shadow must experience fun.
Don't I, though?
Shadow tilted his head at the echidna.
Not including games.
You do realize bowling is a game?
Sonic pointed out, and the echidna frowned.
Fine, outdoor activities. Not home ones, is that any better, blue brother of mine?
Technically, it's an indoor game too.
Sonic put his finger up, and the echidna growled in annoyance in response.
But it isn't a home one, so point to you.
Knuckles had to count an echidna to stop him from chasing his brother around the diner. Sonic snickered. It was just so funny winding Knuckles up. Shadow too, but the echidna wouldn't dare send him flying in public. Well, no, that's a lie, he would, just not in a diner since other humans could become causality, so Sonic switched targets, his teasing on the ebony hedgehog as well. He really doesn't think Shadow would try anything either.
Oh, Shadow, I have another movie for you.
Tails' two tails wagged with excitement.
Have you ever heard or seen Matilda?
Shadow hummed at that.
No. Is it good?
Yeah. Miss Trunchbull is the villain, but the actress plays her so well.
Tails grinned at Shadow, who did look interested somewhat. Tom smiled at how things were progressing with the Sapients. Shadow seemed to make the time to do stuff Tails wanted to do. Not to say his other boys don't, but Shadow would watch anything with the fox. Where Sonic prefers his action films and Knuckles, well, he's not too interested, but he still tries.
We should make time for it then.
Shadow nodded at the fox, who pumped his fist with excitement. Maddie sipped her drink, just happy things were doing okay for his first ever trip with the family outside. She was optimistic on trying more outings. Shadow needed a life that wasn't just being kept away. That wouldn't be any different than what GUN would do, only less experiments and torture. He shouldn't be some big secret.
Oh yeah, Shadow.
Yes, Sonic.
You excited to meet the other Wachowskis? Oh, and our cousin Jojo from Mom's side?
Shadow choked hard on his own food. Knuckles slapped his back a little too hard and he nearly brought it back up.
Huh? Come again?
He choked out, hitting his chest.
Knuckles, you nearly took him out.
Sonic's eyebrows rose. The echidna looked at the black sapient with a questionable gaze.
He is still awake.
Never mind.
Sonic shook his head.
The concept of you hitting too hard is foreign.
Ha ha. Suddenly we are a comedian, are we?
I am pretty funny.
To be funny means you need to think. It's something you cannot comprehend.
The bickering was about to start, so Tom clicked his fingers to get their attention and a stern-eye warning. Tails and Shadow found it amazing that a human could command two powerful beings to cease their antics with just a look. That is the power of the Wachowski family. That, and it helps that he's their father, just like Maddie is their mother.
Why would I be meeting family members?
Shadow genuinely asked, and the disbelief on Maddie and Tom's face could be seen clearly.
They're coming for my birthday.
Sonic blinked. That wasn't something Shadow understood. He didn't realize they'd be coming to the house. It wasn't his first thought. It never crossed his mind.
Bud, why wouldn't you?
Wouldn't I be out the way? Up the stairs?
He muttered out, not at all sure how to feel. He doubts Tom's father and mother. Thomas and Daisy would appreciate hearing the black hedgehog hurt their son's hand. Sonic looked at him, not understanding the issue, nor was anyone else really. Wade looked at the ebony hedgehog.
Why would you be out the way?
I don't think they'd appreciate randomly meeting a new hedgehog and...
His eyes shot to Tom's bandaged hand and Tom clicked.
Oh, Shadow, I'm fine.
He put up his hand to show.
You didn't do it on purpose. Besides, they don't really need to know. And don't be silly, of course they'd like to meet you.
Blackberry, we want you to meet the family. You are living with us, remember?
It's still a lot for him to adjust to. How many are we talking exactly? His human tolerance can only take so much. He's barely wanting to stay here any longer, but he's doing it for them.
They'll love you, honey.
She firmly stated, making Shadow look at her.
Don't worry about it too much, okay?
That's easy for her to say. No, he shouldn't be this doubtful. He took a deep breath to calm his beating heart.
Yeah, Grandpa and Grandma really took to all of us. They'll do the same for you.
Tails smiled at him to assure the black hedgehog. Course Maddie will have to see about Randall. Ain't no way she's allowing a GUN agent near the family or knowing about him. Rachel can fall out with her all she likes, it's not happening. She has to make it sound like she isn't fishing for information either. But she and Tom want JoJo there for Sonic considering. That was the tricky part, once she's made a plan for though. She fully intends to call up Rachel the next day and ask.
You look better.
A voice called out, gaining the humans' attention. They looked to the side to see one of the officers of Green Hills that was hired 2 years ago. He was about a few years younger than Maddie. His name is Chris Anderson. After the incident with Robotnik, the first time they decided to take on more officers, and Chris was one of them.
Hey, Sheriff Deputy.
He grinned and leaned over the booth where Knuckles was.
You too, Maddie.
Chris? Yeah, we're better.
Hi, Chris.
Chris turned to them.
Hey, boys.
He waved at them, always finding it a pleasure. He spotted Shadow. Oh.
Who's this?
The man blinked. When did they gain another sapient? Gee, it's like Tom and Maddie were collecting them. Shadow's ruby eyes glanced at Chris and Boy. He felt intimidated. Those eyes were not normal. Wade sheepishly grinned at the officer.
This is...
He was about to introduce him but felt Shadow glare at him. He cleared his throat, understanding. Maddie rose an eyebrow at the black hedgehog, who crossed his arms, obviously still wary about being introduced to people. Knuckles shook his head.
He is our newest. I ask you for patience, Sir Christopher. He hasn't been around decent humans.
Knuckles said, taking a drink of his drink.
Just Chris. Knuckles.
He grinned, then thought at what he said. Decent, huh? Chris looked to Tom and Maddie. They appeared tired to the officer. Curious.
How you finding Green Hills?
He asked the black hedgehog, who did not answer. Sonic piped up though.
He's loving it. Just be careful with your hand. He might bite.
Shadow froze and slowly turned his head at the blue hedgehog, and those around him could swear they heard the sound of a clock ticking down. Tom put his hands together like he was about to pray. Sonic shrugged, not at all bothered about the potential damage that was about to rain down upon him. Knuckles stared at the blue hedgehog in disbelief.
You truly do not think, do you?
I swear, I will ground the three of you.
Chris laughed at the teenage antics that were happening before him. The black hedgehog looked extremely offended and gestured to himself.
Yes, you too, Blackberry.
He let out a sound of disbelief and held his hands to his head, not believing she just said that in front of a stranger. Tails was giggling away, absolutely enjoying the chaos. Shadow thinks he secretly enjoys other people's misery. Those horrible foxes at his village.
Hey, bud.
Tom looked to Shadow, who shot his eyes to him.
This is Chris Anderson. He's an officer like me and Wade, so he helps protect the town. Could I introduce you?
He'd rather not, but he promised to try. He needs to. For their sake, and Maria's. He took a deep breath and nodded and looked away, not willing to see the gazes. But Tom reached out under the table with his hand and squeezed his arm in assurance. He gave the ebony hedgehog a small smile.
This is Shadow. He's Green Hills' newest member.
The officer looked at the hedgehog and grinned a warm smile.
Welcome to Green Hills. The name suits you.
The man could see the hesitation on the sapient and wondered why. Unbeknownst to Chris, Shadow finds Green Hills strange. So far everyone who's been curious has said welcome and asked him how he's finding it, but Knuckles and everyone did say it was a special place. The fact these people were turning his view on humans upside down, it's just a lot to process. Yet he feels safe for once. Is it because of the sapients? Maddie and Tom? Even Wade? These people are so much like Maria and Gerald before the incident. His leg was bouncing still from nervousness, but he knows at least he's trying. He can check that off the goal book. That he tried.
Well, he's not feral right now. You're lucky, Chris. He nearly bit Carl before.
Tom shot Sonic a bewildered look. Sonic was confident he wouldn't try anything out in a public space. The clock ticked, the buzzer went off. Okay, that's the way he's gonna be? Shadow gripped onto Sonic's hand and twisted under the table with enough force there was a loud audible crack. Not enough to break but enough to have him head first on the table in pain.
Holy mother of chaos!
Sonic wailed out, his free hand hitting the table trying to distract himself from the pain Shadow was currently doing.
Shadow! Your grip!
But he didn't relent. He glared at the sapient in a way to say uncle to him.
Shadow? No.
Maddie reached out to try and stop him. It didn't work cause he twisted once again. Knuckles grinned at his brother.
Apologize and say uncle brother. He will let go then.
Sonic stared in defiance.
Never.
Shadow's quite sure he'll be fine without a hand.
I swear.
Maddie tried pulling Shadow's death grip off Sonic. Tails sipped his milkshake quite happy to not be involved. Chris laughed, they certainly had their hands full. Tom sighed and banged his head on the table, saying something about the universe curse, to which Knuckles and Wade agreed.
Well, I better collect my lunch. I'm glad you lot are feeling better from that food poisoning.
Yeah, I'll be back soon at least. Sorry about the sudden pile of paperwork.
All good. Green Hills is rather quiet.
Uncle, uncle, uncle.
Sonic cried out in succession, giving in to Shadow finally not being able to handle it anymore. Shadow gave him a quizzical look, wanting it to be louder.
Uncle darn it, Shadow!
Knuckles had to intervene this time, cause the rat shouted out his name to all who could hear.
Besides alien shenanigans.
The officer chuckled away. Tom sighed out again.
You have no idea.
The day went quite well. Shadow got a lot of hellos off humans who passed by, but he was reluctant to speak overly too much. His social battery was completely done as the family found out. As soon as Shadow got into the truck, he rested his head on the window just screaming tired teen. Don't disturb or you will lose a hand like Sonic almost did. But the adults felt extremely proud of Shadow, willing to not only food shop with them, but also go to a family diner meant the world to them because they can start normal family outings again, hopefully. Next they'll take a stroll around the town when Shadow recovers from his exposure, but that slow steps is the way to go. They all said goodbye to Wade who said he would see them for game night again. As soon as they got in the house, Shadow took off his shoes and headed into the bathroom for a shower, likely to try and de-stress from the amount of people that saw him, obviously still quite worried if June somehow found out, which again, understandable, but the adults can't let it consume the poor boy. Knuckles did his daily yoga outside with Maddie while Tails looked for his DVD collection for Matilda, fully intending to make a plan with the Black Sapient to watch it and see what he thinks about Trunchbull. As much as she's a villain, Tails can't help but love her accent and voice.
Man, he's got some grip.
Sonic winced, shaking his hand. He could definitely feel the bruising.
Your own fault, bud.
Tom sipped his can, checking his phone to potentially have an outing with Shadow again.
You poked the bear too much.
If Shadow is staying with us, it's my duty to welcome him by annoying him. In a respectful manner, of course.
I'd rather you not annoy a hedgehog, Knuckles, who could clearly break your bones.
Tom gave him an eye.
He just needs to experience this side of life. Humor must be learned.
Tails snickered at Sonic's logic, life of the party he is. Tom shook his head and went back to his phone. Maybe they could do bowling, maybe the 15th of June, or baseball. So many options to choose. Actually, maybe get a family race between the Sapients as a fun activity, maybe this weekend? But his thoughts were derailed when Sonic let out a terror-sounding scream and Tom tossed his phone into the air, not expecting him to suddenly scream out like that. Hurrying out to try catch his phone so it didn't crack.
What?
He looked at his son, completely startled, and Tails hung onto the couch for dear life. Sonic was standing on top of the couch, further back on the top edge like a cat, on Tails' side. Then they all heard loud barreling sounds coming down the stairs and into the room. There was Shadow, completely wet and covered in soap suds, his eyes wide, and looked alarmed. He gazed around the room to find the intruder that Sonic potentially screamed at. Did Gun find him already and shoot something into the room? Tails looked frazzled and so did Tom, but neither looked harmed. So what is the issue? His heart though was racing. Knuckles came quickly as well as did Maddie after hearing that scream, but they both looked alright as well. Sonic might have realized he overreacted and gave them a sheepish smile, pointing to the arm of the couch, and they all looked. There was a spider on the armrest. He screamed bloody murder over a spider? Shadow stared in disbelief then annoyance, not believing what he was witnessing.
You aren't serious. You lived in a cave.
I didn't have spiders. Someone get it?
Tom put his hand to his chest and groaned, and Maddie started laughing at the absurdity that happened. Tails sighed. His brother could be so dramatic at times. Was it because he was a teen? Didn't seem all that fun.
Chaos sake, it's a spider.
Shadow hissed. Water was just dripping off him.
It's gonna eat me.
Sonic cried out, his eyes shooting as the spider stayed in its position.
It physically can't.
Someone get rid of it.
Oh, you are such a baby.
Shadow couldn't believe this. This hedgehog is terrified of a itsy-bitsy spider.
Have you ever seen tarantulas?
Sonic's eyes spotted it moving, and he jumped high into the air. Zipping behind Maddie and using her as a shield, she kept laughing.
It's after me.
Shadow slapped his forehead and stormed over to the couch and lifted the spider into his palm and showed how it's just sitting in his hand.
Oh no, it's biting me. It's eating me alive. I'll drop dead soon. Farewell to all.
Is that sarcasm I hear?
Oh no, I wouldn't dare.
Shadow scoffed and opened a window, letting the spider outside.
There, no risk of you being consumed by a spider.
What if it comes back in?
It's a spider.
Shadow yelled at the blue hedgehog. Well, today has been certainly a day.